With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today is Wisdom Wednesday. And you already know what it is. This is the year of the rebirth, and June is all about creativity and expression. Well, today we are diving deep into the power of a creative rebirth. How can you break free from pain, addiction, and emotional baggage and express your way back to joy? Well, I've got a very special guest with me today who is doing just that in her way. You probably haven't heard of it before, but we're going to introduce it today, all right? So before we get and we bring our guest to the stage, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good, so I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, Goddess, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. By bridging the gap between them all. And we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG group. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to axnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people, welcome back. Well, I'm going to welcome the beautiful Miss Meridee Hlokoff. I hope that I'm pronouncing the name right, but hi, welcome.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me.
So what we usually do here, I'm excited for this conversation. As I said before, this month is all about creativity and expression. And something that you have that I've never heard about when I was reading on it. And I just can't wait to share with our audience. But before we do that, usually what we do here is we kind of ground ourselves before we get into the topic, because sometimes we can go down a rabbit hole. All right, my listeners, you know what we do. If you all could just get comfortable at this moment, at this time, and close your eyes. All right, take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Now gently exhale. Now as you inhale, I want you to feel your heart filling with light and warmth. And as you exhale, I want you to release any doubts, the fears, the old stories that no longer serves you. I want you to visualize yourself stepping into a new beginning, one where creativity and joy are flowing effortlessly through you. Let's breathe one more time together. Exhale. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help us to ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so this month has been a really great series for us. And we've been talking about creativity. It isn't just about skills, but it's about a healing force as well. So whether we're through art, dancing, music, or even just a creative expression, it allows ourselves to come back to ourselves. Well, today's guest, as I mentioned before, she's no stranger to transformation. Please welcome the founder of LaserQuit, a woman who has helped thousands to break free from addiction through her unique blend of cold laser therapy and deep spiritual healing. Well, welcome, Meridee. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so excited to share with everyone how this is so amazing and life-changing.
Yes, yes. Let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to start LaserQuit? And I hope I'm saying it right, LaserQuit, right?
Yeah, it's LaserQuit. So we help people free themselves from addiction. And what inspired this on my side was that it was like this miracle cure for me to quit smoking. And after experiencing it, I knew that I could take it to another level and truly help people change their lives in so many more ways than simply a quit smoking treatment.
Right. When you said that, I thought about for my oldest daughter. I have a daughter that's 35 years old, and she has a smoking problem. She said, "Mama, really, you just shared that?" Yeah, but she gets that from my father. My father was a Addic smoker. He even had those trimmers where when he didn't have like a nicotine fit. And I remember him trying to quit so many different times with it, and it just did not happen. It just did not happen. And you would think that that how easy it can be because it's just cigarettes, right? But no, but there's the nicotine in it, from there. For our listeners who may be hearing about the cold laser therapy for the first time, this is the first time that I'm hearing about it too. Can you explain how it works? And why it's such a game changer? Because like I said, with the smoking, everything else. Yeah, come on.
Because it's not just smoking. So first, cold laser is basically the LED light that you're hearing everyone talking about, red light therapy. It's that combined with low level radiation. And I know a lot of people will freak out when they hear radiation. It's low level. So it's non-toxic levels. And we're based more or less on acupuncture, acupressure points. So we're taking thousands of years old, combining it with this new modern medicine of cold laser, and we're creating this outcome that is just like shockingly mind-blowing. So I'll tell you about my experience first, which is what kind of led me down the road. I had tried everything to quit smoking, and basically the only thing, and a lot of women are going to be like, yeah, I know, the only thing that helped me and stuck was being pregnant. So I'm not going to poison a child inside of me, but I'll poison myself.
Right.
And so I ended up trying everything. I tried the patch, the gum, the pills, you name it. Nothing worked. There was too many side effects. I was throwing up, you name it. It was just negative, negative, negative. And I was desperate. Posted on my Facebook and said, somebody help me. My girlfriend said, you need to go try this cold laser therapy. And I was like, I don't even care. I don't care cost. I don't care anything. Give me the phone number. I'm going. Mm-hmm. I went, and it was 3 hours from my home. And so for 3 hours, I drove home afterwards and didn't think about a cigarette. The guy that was with me said, like, when are you going to quit smoking? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I haven't thought about it. He's like, what? And I said, I haven't thought about it since we left. And he's like, there's no way. And I said, I'm telling you, I have not had a single thought about a cigarette in the last 3 hours. Now, a lot of us who are smokers, driving comes with a lot of boredom, which is a major trigger for a lot of us. So me not thinking about it was like this, what happened? And I said, why are you saying this? And he's like, you keep patting the center console and rolling your window down and then driving. Because smokers, we grab the cigarette, we light it, we roll down the window, and then we keep driving. And I was like, that's so interesting. So all of my habits were still there. But the craving, the thought, none of that was there. And now after quitting, I was able to quit for 5 years. 5 years. I started again. And it was one puff of a cigarette that tasted like crap that led me back down the road. But think about that. Think about the fact that the first time you have a cup of coffee, the first time you smoke a cigarette, the first time you drink alcohol, you don't enjoy it. You're not like, oh, this is so lovely. You're like, ew, ugh, this is not lovely. And then we continue to do it. So we create habits around it and all these other things that are associated with it. So when we are, say, for example, a smoker, a drinker, whatever it is, you are releasing a certain number or a certain level of endorphins in your brain when you do these things, which is where that sensation is coming from. So you could feel high, you can feel drunk, you can feel just boosted or just relaxed. These are all different toxins entering your body and your body reacting to them. And in doing so, they release different endorphins. So what LaserQuit does is we actually use your body's energy to release more endorphins than you can release doing any of those things. So we set you into a state basically of euphoria. And 85% of our clients walk away and forget to smoke like I did. They forget to drink. They forget to do their drugs. They forget. The other 15% of people don't, because it's the same as you and I could take the same pill and I could be throwing up and you'd be like, what's wrong with her? We just don't, our bodies react very differently. So there is 15% of the general population who don't have the forgetfulness, but there's no craving. And with no craving, you can work through that to get to the outcome that you're looking for, which is the quit. So with me and what we've done is I researched. I spent 5 years doing different treatments, different sequences, different timing, different lasers, all of these things to be able to create a 95% success rate in smokers. But it was because along with that, the thing that's missing in most of our quit anything is the support that comes with it, because our addiction is not the problem. Our addiction is the solution to the problem of wanting to not feel. So I don't want to feel feelings. I'm going to mask that with a cigarette or with a joint or with a glass of wine or with a glass of whiskey or whatever it is. Our problem is the trauma that we have not dealt with and the feelings that surface because of it. And then we try and mask it with something else. And so the solution has been your drinking, your all of these things. And we're going to get in there and we're going to make it so you don't need to do any of those things because your endorphins are elevated and you feel pretty good, which allows us then to allow some of our crap to surface. And when it surfaces, when we can deal with what's surfacing, only then can we truly heal, which then stops us from needing to use a substance to cover up the feeling. And so that's how LaserQuit works. We're going to get you to a place in your brain where you feel like you can actually deal with things. And like one of the scientific things that comes around this is it takes about 8 days for you. If you have 1 drink, 2 drinks, 12 drinks, it will take 8 days for your brain chemicals to recover back to a normal level. Do you know anyone who doesn't drink almost every weekend? A lot of people drink on a Friday, then drink on a Saturday, and then are drink it by the Friday again. You're never back to your normal self. Your brain chemicals are just starting to regulate before you mess them up again. So if it's taking 8 days to recover and you never recover, then essentially you're doing very similar. You don't have to be a daily drinker to be an alcoholic.
Right.
Right? You don't have to be a daily user to be an addict. And that's the thing. Now, we need to start asking ourselves, what am I trying to run away from? When you say, oh my God, I just need a drink. Why? What are you running from? Because the healing needs to happen there, not after you've had a drink, because the drink isn't solving the problem. The drink is masking the problem. The drink is moving the problem to the back burner until we feel like dealing with it. And if we're honest, most of us never want to deal with it. It is what it is. And we're happy just to keep pushing it away.
Right.
But that's not the solution. And so this is how come when it comes to people who are heavily addicted to alcohol, heavy drugs, cocaine, heroin, all of these different things, if you're addicted to these things, we put them into a detox. And then what happens is for people who drink, the hangover, that is your crash of endorphins, because you have made your brain overwork the night before, and then the next day you feel like crap because the crash has happened. And a lot of people will reuse there just to get you back up so that you don't feel like crap. That's the hair of the dog you always hear people talk about. And the hair of the dog is pulling your endorphins up using the same toxic substance that you were using that caused them to crash in the first place. So tell me where there's a solution there. So instead, we put people into these detox situations and then we allow their bodies to completely crash. Well, one of the reasons that they started using in the first place is because they had completely crashed. They didn't want to feel anymore, and they didn't have the emotional or mental or capacity in there for them to be able to deal with the things that they were feeling. So then we're going to put them into detox. We're going to make them feel the worst they've ever felt in their mind, because in their mind, the endorphins are crashing. So they're going to be depressed. They're not going to have the capacity to deal with these things. And now we're telling them, okay, now's the time for you to start dealing with your problems. Tell me how that's a solution either. And then if you're a long-term user, you're looking at 14 to 18 months before your brain recovers. So you need 14 to 18 months in a state of depression before you're actually going to get to a place where you feel good enough to deal with things. But in that 18 months, you're supposed to stay sober. So the solutions that are out there are not real long-term solutions, because we're just getting them sober, keeping them in a sad state, and then telling them to deal with their stuff. Well, when I've been depressed, that sad state is so heavy, I feel like I can't deal with the things. I emotionally, it felt like I was looking through glass and I was trying to find my way through this foggy glass, and I was trying to see what was in front of me, and there just was no solution. And with LaserQuit, we bring your endorphins back up to a level that makes you feel normal, so that you have the capacity to then deal with the emotional trauma and things that have surfaced in the first place and the reason that you're using. So this is what makes us so different, is that we're actually going to pull you back up and allow your brain to recover quicker. So this is like a deep chemical thing inside your brain to help you recover. So that's what makes us so different. And that's how we work.
Yeah, this is so interesting because there's so many different things that he was kind of hitting here, that when, just for instance, listeners, regular day people, when they hear certain trigger words like forget, that's one word that I heard loud and clear, like forget. What does that forget looks like for everyone? Does that make sense in the question?
Yeah. So, for example, when someone tries to stop using any substance, doesn't matter what the substance is, when we try to stop using the substance, your second brain, your gut, the bugs and the bacteria in your stomach are so used to getting those things that they are screaming bloody murder to your actual brain, your number one brain, and telling you that you need the thing. So when we go to quit smoking, that withdrawal symptom is the crash of endorphin, and the endorphin is from your stomach for it to raise. Excuse me. So those things are no longer there. And then when we get in there, what I had as an experience for my forget was, as I would think of a cigarette, like I'd start to, or I'd see a cigarette sitting there, as soon as I started the process of it, it would just shut it off and stop. And then I'd have like this duh moment. And now as a woman, if you're listening, you know that we don't have blank moments of thought. We always have something going on inside our heads. So when we hear men say, when you ask a man, like, what are you thinking? They're like, nothing. Did you know that's real? Most women are like, there's no way. It's real. Men don't always have something going on in their head, and we do. And then when I had this experience with the laser, I was like, oh my God, I understand what men go through, where they actually don't think. Because
I'm sorry.
And that's a whole nother story where men don't think. We'll not get into that today. But that's what I mean by forget. Because as you start to think of it, it stops your brain from processing it. And then you don't think of it, which allows you to forget that habit, forget that trigger, forget that moment. And when it does surface, it's so quick and brief before it's gone again. And that for me was the game changer, because every time I tried to quit smoking, the fact that I couldn't stop thinking about it drove me crazy. And that was my issue. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I needed it because I couldn't stop thinking about it. But if you can get through like that first 5 to 7 days, then you've got this. Now I can do the things, but we can't do that when we're constantly thinking about the thing that we're not doing and the thing we're not supposed to do. It's the same as a breakup, right? Like you just think about that person all the time, all the good times, except when you were with them, all you could think about was all the bad times.
Right.
So the laser makes it so that you're able to kind of, at minimum, get back to a normal. Sometimes we get you elevated and make you feel euphoric and lovely. Other times we get you just back to normal. But when you're so far below normal and we bring you to normal, sometimes that even feels like euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean by the forgetfulness is as it enters, it also is taken away.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and I want to be real honest with you. Could that be addictive?
I've had a few people who have said like this is gonna be my this addiction, and I'm like no, because I don't allow you to use it as an addiction, but that's also part of our conscious coaching. Let's talk about that because you just want to keep coming back because you're chasing something because you're so used to feeling crappy, you finally feel good, and now you want that again. But guess what? You did that with drugs. So what are you running from?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's people who don't want the coaching. There's that piece is a major part of it. And we have both options. If you don't want to deal with your trauma, fine. Just be prepared. You're probably going to be doing this game of starting for the rest of your life. But if you want to deal with the trauma, you might actually make some permanent changes.
Mm. Mm. Okay, so let me say this, Miss Meridee. I love what you all are doing. I do. I guess for me, it's a responsibility, and I hope. And please, when I say this, that you're given is probably it is it's an amazing and I want to say product or procedure that is happening for human beings, especially those that have different type of addictions. But with those addictions, there is hurt, trauma that's behind that's created those negative habits, those addictions from there. I guess where I'm getting a little pushback from it, and I rarely ever say this, but something is on my heart to say this because maybe you'd be like, well, maybe that's something that we should do. Is like when offering this is that they do have to go through the conscious counseling. Because for you all, this is the responsibility, the accountability of you giving such an amazing gift and want it to be to where it is truly out there helping people. And excuse me when I say this, not just for the dollar, but just for really to help and build people. Okay, we're going to take this away from you for this moment, but now we got to do the work. Now we got to figure out why did you pick up that weed, or why do you feel like you have to drink every day, or why do you feel you have to go spend that money, or why you, excuse my language, why you feel you have to go fuck this woman or this one on a place of fulfillment. So let's go into there and let's do that. But that comes with a package deal. This comes with a package deal. Yeah,
it does. Now that being said, there is a whole lot of people who want to quit smoking that don't want to deal with their trauma. So as you're saying, like, so why did you do this? The first thing out of my mouth when they come back is, so how did you do? Oh, well, I picked up a cigarette here or there, or this happened and I did. And I'm like, okay, why? Why didn't you pick up your phone? Because the text message is included in it. It was a simple text and you still chose this behavior that's going to take you back down that road. Now, that being said, if you've done any kind of coaching, that only those who want the help are going to take the help. Mm-hmm. So I have been told by certain people, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I'm not interested. I came here to quit smoking. So I have pushback, and I have people who tell me, I'm done with your questions and I'm not into this. And I think you're a bitch. Okay, no problem. The truth hurts. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with my thing is healers, we're here to fuck with you. I'm not going to keep you in your comfort zone. Your comfort zone, nothing beautiful grows. Yes. Look at where you've ended up in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But if you also want to hate me and tell me to shut up, I'm also going to shut up. Because it's not my place to push you when you've told me to shut up. So I'm going to pull myself back and I'm just going to zip it. I'm going to let you have your journey. That being said, when you first come in, you better believe this girl is all up in your shit because
Yeah.
that's who I am. I need to know, why are you doing these things?
Yes.
And I'm going to say more often than not, people react pretty well to it. You know, they'll sit and be like, I have lots of people who I help them quit smoking. And then because the text is there, they'll be like, this didn't work. And they'll start yelling at me. And you can, like, I've had calls where they're like, this, blah, blah, blah. And then my rational, okay, so, well, why did you do that? Or whatever. And then they're fine. And they hang up. And then they'll call me back. Well, this is, and I'm like, okay, so let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a bit, usually the next day I got a call. I'm so sorry that I was such a jerk yesterday. I'm like, no problem. This is the process. This is what I'm here for. You didn't tell me to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You listened, got mad that I was right and hung up. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So my passion is in helping these people truly dig into what's important. But also I've seen it where smokers can quit smoking without dealing with the heavy trauma that comes with it. So if that's the choice you're making, then I can't change that for you. I offer you the choice of which way you want to do this. You can do this with my support and be successful long-term, or we can just keep doing this over and over. That being said, the business that I have designed is meant to close when we fix the addictions. I don't need you to keep coming back. You coming back is failure. That's not success.
Right.
That's failure. You did not succeed and now you're back here again. So for me, success, true success, means that you quit and stayed quit. I have people who are 13 years. I've been doing this for, oh boy, this July, it will be 14 years that I've been doing this. So I have some people who, they post on the Facebook or they post the review. I've been quit for 13 years. I've been quit for 9 years. I've been quit for 10 years. Those are successes.
Yeah.
Right? To me, you quitting for a year and coming back, that's not success. That's you keep burying your trauma. Oh, well, stress happened. Great. So you don't have coping mechanisms. Would you like some? Because I can help. A lot of people are like, no. All right. No problem. I don't have to have a say.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm a certified addictions business life coach. Probably have some skills you could use, but you get to choose what you're going to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for giving me the space, because not only am I speaking for myself, but I know it's a lot of listeners that's like out there,
Absolutely.
and let me share this story with my listeners as you as well. Right now, I am preparing to go through an explant that I'm removing my breast implants that I've had. I've worn breast implants for over 20 years, And I've been very ill with these implants.
Yeah.
So in the process of finding someone to take them out for me, I had to go through several different plastic surgeries to see if we were aligned, if we were truly aligned on why taking these out is not only spiritual for me, but also a rebirthing for me, is removing this it's a toxic bag inside of me. But I understood I got it when I was in a toxic place. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I went to I saw two different ones, and one was like, yes, I can take it, have great reviews and such and such and such. And he showed me the pictures, and I looked at the pictures, and of course, in the back of your mind, the whole reason why you got them is because you had those floppy boobies before.
Mm-hmm.
You understand, babies, that's why you got it, the vein. And so when you see these pictures, and then he says, well, I know you see the pictures now, but I had a few that they'll come back and I'll put them back in. All right. So then there's another one that I went to, and this one came to me. I was at my altar, and it was like, you need to go find someone else, go back home. I'm from Chicago. So I went into this, this group, and this lady popped up, and she said that this doctor does this. And I said, okay, let me go research him. So I went and researched him. And he actually was a really big give implants, everything. And he said when he realized how harmful they were to people, how harmful they were to these women out here, he said, I no longer do implants. He said, I got pushed back from my, my business partners and stuff like that, because they said, we're not going to make any money. We're not going to make any money. And he said, money doesn't mean anything to me anymore when I know that I am responsible for a lot of these illnesses that are out there right now. And he said, the least that I can do is no more implants. I'm just going to explant, and I'm going to do my very best to give them what they were looking for before they got into the breast. And so even a conversation that him and I had, even after I saw that, and we had that conversation, and I thanked him for being that courageous, because being able to step out of the norm, to be, set out by yourself, but also to know that, you know what, I know better now, so I'm going to do better. And that's when you said that, I was like, oh, this is great. But then when I heard, well, and I know people would say, Nyomi, you always want to go and save people and want to, cut people off, but everybody doesn't do it like that. I am a life coach. I am those ones that it is in your face. If this is what you say you want to do, then if you're going to talk it, walk it.
Yes.
Don't waste my time. That is my thing. If I have this, like, saying, for instance, if I tell one of my clients, okay, first of all, let me not say that, because by the time they come to you, they're going to be good. Ready for it. But you understand what I'm saying? And so for that instance, that's why I asked that question. And I'm not judging at all. I'm not. But that was just on my heart to just say it, because I'm saying this sounds great. Okay, there's the forget. Okay, let me ask about that forget.
Absolutely.
Listeners were like, but she said forget. Does that go directly to my mind? Is this procedure, directly to my mind, to my brain? And what does that look like? And that's my next question. What does that look like? What does the whole procedure looks like for them?
So I can't give you too much, because trade secrets, right? Like I spent 5 years studying. But what I will tell you is, you come in, we're going to sit down and you're going to do a whole questionnaire first. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge questionnaire, but there's a questionnaire, and you have to take responsibility. Now, before you even walk in my door, I have sent you a 15-minute video that you need to watch, and I lay out, here's what I'm here to do, and here's what you need to do. So if you want success, you have to do this, and I'll do my part. If you don't, you need to stop watching this video and go cancel your appointment, because I don't want to work with people who can't take accountability.
Yeah.
So and then you come in and you fill out a form that is where you take accountability. Yeah, I acknowledge that I'm responsible for my outcome. Yes, I acknowledge that if I need support, I have to reach out for it. I acknowledge that you're not going to give me a refund when I walked in and didn't walk out and quit, because I'll have people be like, well, it didn't work for me. Well, that's like walking in the gym and spending one day there and walking out and saying, well, I'm still fat, give me my money back. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that. So there's pieces of it for me, but this is where you're going to take accountability for your shit. And then we're going to have a conversation. Once we're done that part, and most of that usually happens too, I make sure we have this conversation on the phone, because I do the booking for all of my locations. Mm-hmm. And consultations, do all the phone things, and then I send your information to the location that you're looking for, and they reach out and do your treatment. So you go in, you have you come in to a very dimly lit room. It's very quiet. We play some really lovely music, sometimes spa music. I have done spa music for too many years and I can't handle it. So I prefer meditation type, chanting, those types of things. So we play some music that just totally relaxes you. And then we give you this amazing treatment that gives you a detox. It gives you, and it's very relatively quick. We do all over your face, head, ears, hands. And it's not like we just go in and we're like, here you go. Like, there's a period of time we spend on each spot. And so we give you that treatment, and then we slowly wake you up from your treatment, because you'll be either in that state where you're incredibly relaxed, or in that state where you're out cold. So we wake you up, we bring you back, and then you sit up, you get your bearings back, and then your treatment is complete. And then we send emails. So I know we sat down and had a lot of conversations today, and you're probably not going to remember 90% of what I said. So the day after, I send you an email saying, here's all the things we talked about yesterday. I'm going to send you an email in a couple weeks just to make sure you're doing good. Then we send you another email at 5 weeks saying, hey, you've done great. Be prepared. You're going to have to come back for another treatment pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Then we do another email at 6 weeks saying, hey, guess what? It's time. Book your appointment to come back so that we can make sure that this sticks. Mm-hmm. And we try and keep in touch with a lot of our clients by doing this, making sure that you can't screw this up. Doesn't mean people don't.
Right.
But we do what we can to make sure, because essentially I don't need to reinvent the wheel, but I gotta tell you that I don't like the way that the wheel's working in my industry.
Right.
So I kind of did reinvent it because it's not about the money. So my competitors will offer you cold laser therapy and we'll give you unlimited treatments for 8 weeks, because it's a bunch of bullshit, because you don't need a treatment for 8 weeks because you don't start crashing until 8 weeks. And you still feel fantastic at 8 weeks. And it's not until you get to 16 weeks. And that's when they're like, no, you got to pay me more money. So because of the way your endorphins work and things like that, I've set my business up a different way so that we can actually see this long-term success, because you'll see they're like, we have 89 to 96% success rates. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I tell you, we have 95 to 98% success rates. 95% is our smokers who follow the program. 98% is our addictions who follow the program. If you don't follow the program, you don't fit into the category of success or not. And I don't care if you don't come back for your second treatment, your third, any of those, you don't fit into my whether you succeeded or not program, or my 95% success rates, because you didn't follow the program the way it was designed for you to become successful. So I'm very careful about how I do it. So yes, I didn't reinvent the wheel, but in so many ways I really did, because I'll get people call and be like, well, it's cheaper over here and I get unlimited treatments. I'm like, go ahead then. Ask them what they're doing to you. And then when you ask them, they're like, they don't tell you it's endorphins. Well, we're going to give you a treatment. And what is the treatment doing? Well, it's going to make you quit smoking. Well, that's great, but how is it working? Most of these people don't know, because they were taught something and they just start doing the thing. I was taught something and thought, I want to do better. I can do, when I was in school, 85% B's, easy to do. Don't even need to think about it. I don't have to put effort into it. I like 95%. I like higher than that. One thing I've realized in business is there's no way to please everyone. So I'm limited to what I can do and what people are going to take from what I offer.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you. So let me go back, because I love when you said that y'all do the conscious counseling. And I love that. And why I say that, because even when you say, and I do see the laser therapy, cold therapy, I never knew what that was. I never knew what that was. And so now that you're saying like they're giving them out like, 8-week special and things of that sort, then that kind of goes into what I was just thinking before. And that's not you. And I apologize. I didn't even know what I was saying. Yeah.
I love pushback, because pushback gives me an opportunity to show you why I do what I do, how I do it differently, all of the things. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, skeptics are probably my favorite, because you come in and I blow your mind.
Well, not so literally like that.
Not quite. You'll still even have your brains intact.
But no, I love that, because it's not just about the quitting, because you're going through the process of the healing process for them as well, to figuring out what it is that really caused you to pick that up, or why.
And that being said, there's that piece of the whole world that are not part of the consciousness.
Yeah.
And those people, I'm not going to be the person who says you don't deserve to take this step because you don't want to be conscious. I will absolutely work with you and we'll do what we can. And if we can keep you from smoking for a year and then you come back and we keep you, great. You aren't considered successful to me. But if I can help you, we are going to make you live longer. Then awesome. That's awesome. And you don't need to be part of the consciousness in order to do the things that are good for your physical body. So I will support people in doing that. That being said, the people I love to work with are the conscious, the ones who want to do this work, the ones who want to be better people, the ones who have a bigger purpose on this in this world.
Yeah. If you can you share a powerful client success story?
I can. I have this really amazing one. Now, when I tell this story, you guys, I'm not asking you to lie to me, because lying to me or not telling me whole truths aren't going to get us the results we're looking for. So this lovely lady comes in and she said, I have agoraphobia. She had trickle something where she pulled her hair out of stress. She had incredibly bad anxiety and depression, and she vaped. And she just said, like, I just want maybe you can help me with my hair, but I really, really, really need to quit vaping and smoking. And I said, okay, awesome. And so we brought her in and we did a conscious conversation and all the things. And she surfaced like a lot of her traumas, and she had sexual traumas, all these things. And so we talked, and then she had her first treatment, and her husband had to bring her because she has agoraphobia. And then they left. And then she came back and she had another treatment, didn't say too much. We did have a conversation. She just said, it's been really lovely. She said, I've been walking, like leaving my house and walking. She said, I've been doing this and this and this. And she's like, look, my hair's growing back. And I was like, this is all fantastic. Super great. She comes back for a third treatment. She said, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. And I have if you go to my YouTube, LaserQuit Queens, you guys could find her testimonial. And it's me holding the video and her in the video with me, just so you know. So she says, I got to talk to you. And I said, okay, what's going on? And she says, I haven't been completely honest with you. And I said, okay, cool. I appreciate that you are now. So what is happening? What weren't you honest about? She said, well, I have about 50 grand mal seizures a day. And I was like, what? I was like, that's a huge deal that you didn't inform me. I told you I'm working with your brain. She said, stop. I need to let you know. And I was like, I'm panicking at this point because I need to talk to you and I have all these seizures. She says, I just want you to know that my seizures, I have 5 a day since working with you. 5. She said, they have cut down so much. She said, I'm growing my hair back and I'm not pulling my hair out anymore. She said, I leave my house every single day. Even if it's cold outside, so I can go for a walk. She said, I just need you to know that you have changed my life. And I said, I didn't. I have a tool that really helped you to get your shit together, and you have done the work. I didn't walk you out of your house. Yeah. You did that. She said, well, all the meds I've been on, all the things I've done, nothing has helped my seizures the way that this has. And I was like, well, I'm glad that was a positive side effect because I didn't know. And I don't know that I would have proceeded with the treatment if I had known.
Right.
And she said, that's why I didn't tell you. And I was like, okay. I understand. Also, that's a big risk to take.
Yeah.
But we work with like autistic kids too. And I had this one who he was only 16, his dad and his mom. His dad was my advertising guy. And he said, I'm going to bring my son in because I want to see what you can do for him. And he's a functioning autistic, but he's pretty severely autistic. And he said, and my wife needs to quit smoking. And I was like, okay. So I take the son in, I give him a treatment. I take him back out to his dad. And he sits with his dad. And I'm like, okay. And I said to the wife, you can come now. And he's like, and his dad goes, how do you feel? And he goes, I don't fucking know. And I was like, oh no. And so I just like took the mom and I was like, I gotta go. This is not good. I broke your kid. And I took the mom in the back. I gave her treatment. I brought the kid or the mom back out. And the kid picked me up and spins me around in this big hug. And I was like, what is that for? And he said, I talked to my dad. And what I feel, he said, it feels like you took this blanket of rage that I always have. You took it and you threw it away. He said, and when I first came out, it was so different. And because they don't articulate themselves. They can't communicate the way they need to. Yeah. He said, I just didn't feel the same. And then me and my dad talked because his dad's been doing this for a long time. His older brother is also severely autistic. And so he said, we talked about it and I realized I'm not mad. And then his dad came back to me afterwards. His wife is still quit. This was like 10 years plus ago. The son came back and we continued doing treatments on the son. They did stop because it wasn't cost efficient for them. And the Autistic Society in Canada wasn't allowing them and said, this is messing with it and all the things. And we do still occasionally do them, but as they can afford, because now he's an adult. He doesn't have a ton of money. And so we do work together still, but he had said he came back for his follow-up, his first follow-up. And his dad said, you know what was really interesting? When he plays his sports, he's in a special needs league. And when they lose, his whole team takes off because they know that he's going to lose his mind. And he said that he went and said to his dad instead, I'm so disappointed in myself. And I feel like I let everyone down. His dad looked at him and was like, where's the rage? Where's the anger? Where's your kicking balls all over the place and freaking out? You just came to me and communicated your needs. And so he said that it just completely changed. And I've worked with quite a few since because the dad just kept saying, you got to go see her. You got to go see her. And I've worked with quite a few autistic down to like 7 years old where they don't like me when they leave because that initial feeling of change, they really don't like that. So after sleeping, they wake up the next day and they feel better. And then usually around 5 or 6 weeks, you can ask them, do you want to go back and see her? And they're like, yeah, actually, it made me feel better. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different opportunities for things that we can help in such a holistic and natural way. I am not putting anything in your body at all. I am using your body's energies to create the release of endorphins and the regulation of your brain to make you feel good. And like ADHD, there is a lack of dopamine release in your brain. That's exactly what we focus on. So people with ADHD see incredible results without that overstimulated sensation in the middle of their body because they're taking a stimulant.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of testimonials. We have a ton of videos that you guys can watch with testimonials. Usually I'm in it because people are like, no, don't take a video of me. And then I'm like, how about if we do it like this? Right. So it's usually me being like, looking at the camera saying, hey, tell the story. But you'll see a ton of these stories where I have had people come to me and just be like, this was game changer. This changed my life, all the things. And I get them to tell their story.
Yeah. Thank you. Truly, thank you for just sharing this whole experience and what you do. Seriously.
Thank you.
I love just at this one part, and I hate that we didn't even speak upon it strongly about how holistic that it is. There is no chemicals at all. It's just your own. And I think that is one of the most important things that I pray that my listeners hear is that part of it, is that she is using the very thing that is in your body. That is what she's using. That's it.
Because your body knows better than a doctor. Your body knows better than anyone else. And it has the ability to completely heal itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate that we don't have no more time.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you putting it out there and letting people know about this and giving people the opportunity to be able to look deeper into what I do.
Yes. I mean, I love it. I was giving you a little pushback. I had to though, Meridee.
Yeah, no, please do.
I had to, but could you please share where our listeners can find you? And
probably the easiest place to find me, LaserQuit. Now, laser is spelled with an S, LaserQuit.net. That will redirect you to LaserQuitTherapy.ca, which is our website. You can find us on Facebook at LaserQuit Therapies. You can find me personally on Instagram at Sober Coach Mare, because that's what I do best. And yeah, if you guys get to our website, you're interested. Now, there is one other thing that we are doing to expand where we are. We are looking for partners. What we do is we train you to offer our services. You offer the services. And then what we do is we support you and we take a commission off of what you make. So it's not, you don't have this huge amount to buy in. You don't have all these things. You offer our services and we take a portion of what you earn because we've taught you how to do it.
Wow.
So if there's anyone out there that's interested in that, go to my website, send us an email, and we can have a conversation.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have to talk a little bit more. But it was good just listening to everything. And I really hope that, let me say this. Last month, we were doing Mental Health Awareness Month. And, a lot of, on my other podcast, Accident and Bridging the Gap podcast, we actually dedicated the whole entire month. And so I had different specialists come on and we talk about love and mental health with different relationships and stuff like that. And not too long ago, I shared that one of my loved ones was actually diagnosed, and I don't even know what this diagnosis is, borderline bipolar.
Personality disorder?
And so... Yeah, they don't want to, take the medication because it makes them feel, a certain way. And, they have anxiety and all these certain things that goes on. So my question is to you, is this something that can possibly help minimize? Because I heard you say ADHD.
Yes. So I can tell you I cannot treat people with bipolar.
Okay.
But borderline personality, I have not actually had a diagnosed borderline personality come and have a treatment and then tell me the results one way or another. I have had a few bipolar because that's a far more common diagnosis, and it's a hard no because their brain cannot handle the positive endorphins that are released. It sends them into a spiral. So if you're bipolar, don't call us. We can't help, unfortunately. But I don't know. I can't tell you yes or no when it comes to the borderline personality disorder. That being said, because I know that this can't hurt anyone, I'm almost willing to try on anyone with anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And to my listeners, you know, this year is all about rebirth. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know, go to our website and let us know. Give us a hey or a 5-star. You know what to do. Give us your reviews. Do you have any last words, Meridee, before we go?
The only thing I tell people is that there's always hope. Just remember that there's always hope. When you feel like there isn't anything else, you haven't tried everything, so there's still hope.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, my beautiful people, the journey of self-love is not always easy, but it is always worth it. So today we've learned the healing can look like in laser and laughter, like journaling joy and like starting over. That is okay. Again, thank you, Meridee. Thank you so much. And to my listeners, again, thank you and have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.